Hello everyone. In this module, we are going to see what is active transport. Here, we are going to deal with the topics like introduction, what is active transport, electrochemical gradient, difference between passive transport and active transport, what is primary active transport, and carrier proteins or pumps for active transports. Now, let us see what is active transport. Active transport is a transport of molecule against its concentration gradient. Molecules are carried from region of lower concentration to the region of higher concentration. This process faces resistance and so it has to utilize some energy to overcome this resistance to carry out this transport. Therefore, it is called as active transport. The process is also known as uphill transport. This energy is utilized in the form of ATP and this ATP is either utilized directly or indirectly. Cell needs to move molecule against concentration gradient 2. Active transport is a transport of molecule which requires expenditure of energy to move solute against the concentration gradient using energy. Active transport mechanisms use cell's energy usually in the form of ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate. In case of primary active transport, ATP is utilized directly. It is an uphill transport. Let us revise the difference between passive and active transport. Active transport involves carrying a molecule against concentration gradient and it utilizes energy, whereas passive transport occurs according to concentration gradient and therefore, it does not require any energy. During active transport, as the resistance is more, it is called as uphill process, whereas passive transport faces no resistance and therefore, it is referred as downhill process. Some active transport mechanisms move small molecular weight materials such as ions through the membrane. Other mechanisms transport much larger molecules. An example of active transport is uptake of salt by cells through a sodium pump. What do we mean by electrochemical gradient? In living systems, concentration gradients are more complex. In a cell, ions are constantly moving in and out of the cell. They possess either positive or negative charges. Cells also contains proteins which do not move across the membrane. These proteins are mostly negatively charged. This creates an electrical gradient, that is difference of charges across the plasma membrane. Interior of living cell is electrically negative with respect to extracellular fluid. At the same time, cells possess higher concentration of potassium and lower concentration of sodium than that of the extracellular fluids. Therefore, in a living cells, the concentration gradient of Na plus tends to drive it into the cell and the electrical gradient of Na plus, that is positive ion, also tend to drive it inward to negatively charged interior. This makes the situation more complex for other elements such as potassium. As living cell is electrically negative, electrical gradient of K plus, a positive ion, also tend to drive it into the cell, but concentration of K plus ion is greater into the cell as compared to extracellular fluid. Therefore, the concentration gradient of K plus tends to drive K plus out of the cell. Such combined gradient of concentration and electrical charge affects the ion and it is called as electrochemical gradient. If it is a fact that potassium solution injection is lethal, my question is, why do you think a potassium solution injection is lethal? Answer to this question is, cells have high K plus concentration in the cytoplasm and it has high concentration of Na plus outside. Due to K plus injection, there is high concentration of K plus ions outside the cells which changes the electrochemical gradient. Potassium sodium potential from heart muscle play very important role in transmitting the muscle contraction signals. Due to the change in this electrochemical gradient, heart fails to send the beating signal and therefore person dies. That is the reason why potassium solution injection is lethal. But during heart surgeries, these K+ injections are used in appropriate amount to stop the heart from beating during the surgery. Moving against a gradient. For a cell, it needs to spend an energy to move substance against the concentration or electrochemical gradient. This energy is gained from hydrolysis of ATP, which is generated through the cell's metabolism. Small substances are constantly passing through plasma membrane. It keeps on fluctuating the electrochemical gradient of a cell. There is a special active transport mechanism followed by a cell to carry out active transport process, which is also known as pumps. Pumps work against the electrochemical gradient. Active transport maintains concentration of ions and other substances needed by living cells in response to these passive movements. Cells need to spend much of its supply of metabolic energy to maintain this process. For example, most of the red blood cells' metabolic energy is utilized to maintain the imbalance between exterior and interior sodium and potassium levels required by that cell. Because active transport mechanisms depend on a cell's metabolism for energy, they are sensitive to many metabolic processes that interfere with the supply of ATP. There exist two mechanisms for the transport of small molecular weight material and small molecules. First is primary active transport, which moves ions across a membrane and creates a difference in charges across the membrane. This is directly dependent on ATP. And second is secondary active transport, which describes the movement of material that is due to the electrochemical gradient established by primary active transport that does not utilize energy directly. The cell makes use of membrane pumps to accomplish active transport. Pumps can convert free energy into different forms depending on which form it is required by a cell at that given time. This property makes membrane pumps a convenient choice for mediating active transport as they can provide energy needed to initiate the transport. The two main types of pumps employed by the cell are P-type ATPases and ATP binding cassette transporters, for example ABCs. Both of these pumps are powered by ATP. One method by which these pumps can perform active transport is by binding to ATP. This binding followed by hydrolysis, which induces the conformational changes in the pump, allows the bound ions to transport across the membrane. These pumps can also use active transport to establish a favorable concentration gradients for separate transport processes. For example, one pump can create a given concentration gradient by performing active transport on a certain ions, and then another pump can make use of this new concentration gradient and facilitate the ion diffusion down the concentration gradient. Thus, the cell can couple active transport with passive transport in order to efficiently use the results of one processes to derive another process to completion. Carrier proteins for active transport. Membranes show certain mechanisms to adapt the process of transport against the concentration gradient. An important membrane adaptation for active transport is presence of specific carrier proteins or pump. They facilitate this movement. There are three types of these proteins or transporters present on a membrane. Uniporters, which carries one specific ion or molecule at a time. Symporters, which carries two different ions or molecules at a time. Both the molecules move in the same direction. And antitransporters, which also carries two different ions or molecules at a time but in different direction. All of these transporters can also transport small uncharged organic molecules like glucose. These three types of carrier proteins are also found in facilitated diffusion, but they do not require ATP to work in that process. Some example of pump for active transports are Na plus K plus ATPase. which carries sodium and potassium ions, and H plus K plus ATPase, which carries hydrogen and potassium ion. Both of these are antiporter carrier proteins, and two other carrier proteins are Ca2 plus ATPase and H plus ATPase, which carry only calcium and only hydrogen ions respectively. Both are pumps. Sodium potassium pump, that is Na plus K plus ATPases. These help in maintaining the concentration by generating necessary ion gradient. These are antiporter carrier proteins. As various cellular processes require K plus ions, animal cell possesses high amount of K plus than Na plus. An enzyme Na plus K plus ATPases are used to control this ion gradients in intracellular media. They actively transport most common ions, that is Na plus out and K plus into the cell. They maintain the electrochemical gradient, thus most important pump in animal cells. It transports 3 Na plus as to 2 K plus at a time. Na plus K plus ATPase exist in two forms. These forms depend on orientation and affinity either for Na plus or K plus ions. Na plus K plus pumps. The Na plus K plus pumps, also known as Na plus K plus ATPase, is an enzyme used by a cell to control the ion gradient in its intracellular media. As the name of enzyme suggests, the ions it deals with are those of potassium and sodium, which are two of the more common ions present in the living system. In this case, the Na plus K plus pump hydrolyzes ATP in order to supply the energy needed to actively transport Na plus out of the cell while bringing K plus into the cell. It is for the reason that most animal cells tend to have significantly high concentration of potassium ions than sodium ions. The cells require this concentration in order to be able to facilitate various cellular processes. Mechanism of Na plus K plus ATPase is as follows. With the enzyme oriented towards the interior of the cells, the carrier has a high affinity for sodium ions. 3 Na plus ions bind to protein. As a result of ATP hydrolysis and low energy phosphate group attached to the carrier, this attachment results in the change in the conformation of these proteins. Due to this, the protein reorients. This reorientation turns the carrier towards exterior side. The shape change results in the decreased affinity of protein for 3 Na plus and increase the affinity for 2 K plus. Thus, 3 Na plus ions leave the carrier at the same time 2 plus ions attached to this carrier. Now, low energy phosphate group detaches from the carrier and again resulting in the conformational change which repositions the carrier to interior. This new conformation results in the decreased affinity for 2 K plus ions and increased affinity for 3 Na plus ions. Thus, 2 K plus ions are released into the cytoplasm and carrier binds with 3 Na plus due to increased affinity to Na plus ions and so on. So, for every 3 ions of sodium that moves out, 2 ions of potassium moves inside. This results in the interior being slightly more negative related to exterior. This difference in the charge is important in creating the conditions necessary for secondary processes. The sodium potassium pump is therefore electrogenic pump, that is a pump that creates a charge imbalance, creating an electrochemical imbalance across the membrane and contributing to the membrane potential. Two other such enzymes, pumps, are homologs of Na plus and K plus pumps are Ca2 plus ATPase and H plus K plus ATPase. Ca2 plus ATPase. Ca2 plus ATPase ensures transport of calcium ions from normal cells to sarcoplasmic reticulum of muscle cells. Calcium ions are needed by the muscle cells in order to function at the peak efficiency. Thus, these pumps ensure that they receive enough calcium ions to fulfill this requirement. They are an integral membrane protein. They are comprised of single polypeptide chain of 994 amino acid residues. They are ATP powered Ca2 plus pumps, and it's pumps that transport only calcium. Ca plus needed by muscles to function at the peak efficiency. Now let us see the mechanism. These play role in muscle concentration. Ca2 plus is released from sarcoplasmic reticulum into muscle cells via Ca2 plus release channels. Ca2 plus ATPase pump back the released Ca2 plus into SR to cause relaxation. This pump can run when ATP and Ca2 plus are available in the cytoplasm. H plus K plus ATPase pumps are antiporter carrier proteins. H plus K plus ATPase are large quantities of protons into stomach gastric juice in order to keep the pH less than 1. Such low pH is required because the stomach is responsible for digesting all the food and fluids that enter in it. Thus, the gastric juices needs to be acidic enough to dissolve and break down anything that needs to digest it. These three pumps are all part of family known as P-type ATPase. They are called as P-type ATPase because they are all from a phosphorylated intermediate during their reactions. Hundreds upon hundreds of known homologues of these pumps exist within the P-type ATPase, and each plays definite role in maintaining the function of a cell. Multi-drug resistant pumps. MDR pumps are activated by ATP and are found in microorganisms such as bacteria and cancer cells. The MDR pumps consist of large proteins that weave through the cell surface membrane. They work to effectively monitor and prevent unwanted chemicals from entering in the cell. Therefore, microbes have ability to self-defense with MDR pump. MDR pumps also prevent antibiotics from entering into the bacteria and chemotherapeutic agents from entering into the cancerous cells. In addition, they are used to spit out ones that might endanger the bacteria. Administering antibiotics with MDR inhibitors may be a way to circumvent the MDR pumps in bacteria. This explains the uncanny ability of bacteria to defend themselves against the antibiotics. The MDR pumps can be found in humans too, where they have variety of role that help drug get to place where they need to go. They are also important in the membranes, in the brain, in digestive tracts, liver and kidneys because they move hormones into and out of the cell through the membranes. Vesicles. Vesicles are simply the bubble of fluid within a cell. Specifically, vesicles are the membrane-bound sac that aid the transportation and storage of cellular waste and cellular products, metabolites and buoyancy control. The membrane surrounding the vesicle shares many characteristics with plasma membrane of a cell. As a result, the vesicle can fuse with the membrane in order to dispose of the contents. Transport vesicles. These are just specific type of vesicles with a function of transport. They move molecule, produce, etc. between the rough endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi apparatus. Two type of proteins are synthesized on ribosome present on the rough endoplasmic reticulum. From here, the transport vesicle take the new proteins to Golgi apparatus, and at the Golgi apparatus, the proteins age and mature in order to be transported to their final destination. The proteins always travels around inside the cell with transport vesicles. Lipid vesicles. These are also known as liposomes. These vesicles are aqueous components that are surrounded by a lipid bilayer. These vesicles are used to monitor membrane permeability and to deliver chemicals to the cell. Lipid vesicles aid in determining the levels of impermeability of a membrane to ions and polar molecules. Ions and polar molecules are trapped in the aqueous compartment of a liposome. The rate of flow from inner compartment of vesicle to the outside solution during membrane transport determines the membrane's impermeability to ion or polar molecules contained in the inner aqueous compartment. Liposomes are formed by sonicating phospholipids in presence of ions, polar molecules or water soluble substances. Coated vesicles. These are the vesicles that are formed when emerging buds are detached from the cell membrane. Depending on the formation of the vesicle, the formation of outer coat may be from the vesicle, where in other cases other enzymes are necessary to form the vesicle. It is an intracellular structure. The outer surface of the vesicle is covered in the lattice or cage-like coating of protein called as clathrin. Clathrin is a protein that forms a lattice-shaped covering on the cytosolic side of the cellular membrane. These cytosolic sides are referred to as coated pits. Clathrin can self-assemble spontaneously and it can play major role in deforming the bubble vesicles. COP1. COP1 is another protein that coats vesicle during the protein transportation. However, these vesicle coat transporters form the Golgi apparatus to rough endoplasmic reticulum. Since this is reverse of direction of normal transportation, it is known as retrograde transport. The protein coat is made up of large protein subcomplexes that possesses 7 unique subunits. COP2. It is very similar to COP1. In fact, it transports proteins. However, COP2 transports from rough endoplasmic reticulum to Golgi apparatus and therefore it is known as anti-retrograde transport. COP2 has coat that is made up of 4 unique protein subunits. COP2 has 3 different binding sites that it can complex with other proteins. Both COP1 and COP2 are very active in membrane trafficking. They perform the necessary tasks of selecting the correct cargo for proteins and they change the shape of phospholipid bilayer into correct buds and vesicles. ABC transporters. ABC transporters are family of transporters that depend upon ATP binding for transport. ABC stands for ATP binding cassette. ABC protein have particular molecule structure that includes 2 nucleotide binding domain where ATP binds. An example is multiple drug resistant protein. This protein uses energy of ATP hydrolysis to pump a wide variety of non-polar drug and toxins out of the cell. It is named because overexpression of these protein in the tumor cell confers resistance to chemotherapeutic drugs. CFTR plays a key role in the secretion of ions and water across the epithelia. Some bacterial toxins causes unregulated activity of CFTR resulting in the excessive secretion in the small intestine which causes diarrhea. In the cystic fibrosis, CFTR channels are defective or absent which leads to decreased secretion which causes the pathology in the lung and digestive systems. To summarize, this was about primary active transport which describes the process of transport of specific substances. This transport is directly coupled to ATP hydrolysis. Because the energy of transport is derived from ATP hydrolysis, these transporters effectively move the substances from one direction to the other, regardless of the concentration gradient. Thank you.